What's up and good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. We got little dogs barking in the background. I feel like I'm just coming back to my roots right here. The amount of videos I used to do back in the day standing in a driveway talking to you guys about trucks, I mean, it's just pretty wild. And the crazy thing is, I made a lot more YouTube money standing in a driveway than I did like busting my butt doing all of these giant ranch projects. But today we're standing in front of the old BBB. You guys ask about this truck all of the time. Yes, this truck is still alive. She's just in retirement. She sits here on a battery tender, and you know, we're gonna see if she's gonna start because, well, you guys know my luck with batteries. I don't have good luck with batteries, so hopefully this thing sitting on a battery tender saved it. I mean, look at that, the steps dropped. That's always a good sign. I don't know who was driving this thing. Look at this. This thing is just an immaculate time capsule of a 2016. But she is flawless on the inside. Look at this truck. Super, super clean. But alrighty, let's see if she wants to fire up for us. Come on, old girl. Yes, we know the hood is open. Oh yeah, I love this old girl. Everybody that asks, why don't you drive it anymore? Well, the ranch is on a dirt road. I don't want to take this truck down a dirt road and just beat it to crap, right? That's not my goal with this thing. This truck is too nice for that. I put a lot of my heart and soul into this truck, a lot of my money into this truck. And for those of you new to the channel, you don't know, we nicknamed this truck the BBB, the bigger, badder, better build. You would think that's 4Bs, but for whatever reason, we made it the BBB, the bigger, badder, better dot build. I had built my 2015 truck. It was kind of when like Work For It started, which is our clothing line, Work For It apparel. And really I was trying to work to earn money to be able to build like a nice truck that I wanted. So back in 2015, I built the Silverado that was Silverado of my dreams at the time. And unfortunately, after not owning it for that long, I was hit by a drunk driver, rolled the truck, and that truck was just totaled. Thankfully, I survived. You know, Gunner, my dog, was in the truck with me. He was thrown out. The whole story's on YouTube if you guys want to go back and watch it. Pretty tragic situation, not just on my part, obviously on the other parts that ran into me. But anyways, I don't complain a lot in life. Somebody's always got it worse than you. Me minding my own business, getting hit that day, and losing my truck was still not as bad as the people that hit me and lost a family member. So in an effort to not have things like that bring me down, I decided we're gonna come back bigger, badder, and better, right? I lost my truck. I lost a ton of money because insurance sucks, even though I had really good insurance and it was supposed to cover everything, and it was a lawsuit. It took 3 years of lawsuits to even get like partially covered on some of my stuff, especially my medical bills and all that. Regardless though, I was gonna come back better, and that's what this truck was, the bigger, badder, better build. And I think this truck definitely set a new bar in terms of trucks that I have owned and built. But anyways, we are taking a big flashback to the past today. Once this thing gets warmed up, I'm gonna pull it out in the street and we're gonna show you guys something that has never been on this truck. A lot of people said it should be put onto this truck, so we're gonna put it on today and I'll explain more in a second. Alrighty, well, change of plans. I was gonna use the BBB for this. However, I think the fuse went bad on my compressors. So my airbags are sitting a little low. Not that that's an issue. The truck can drive and pull out fine and do what I wanted to do today. However, if I'm gonna make videos for social media, I don't feel like hearing about the truck being squatted. So we're gonna try to get ahead of that problem, and instead of using the BBB for this, we're gonna use the 450. Now, if you guys remember, this truck actually has a true 4-linked rear end. Don't mind that she is a little bit dirty. It's been raining out here on and off. With the airbag rear suspension, but with the compressors not kicking on, obviously I can't air up the rear to get it back to level. Small minor issue, I just don't have time to fix it today, and again, this will all make sense in a second on why I'm kind of rushing. Also, we do have the fire truck behind me. If anybody wants to buy this, let me know. I feel like I should just sell a fire truck, you know? What am I doing with it? See guys, this is why you need like 50 trucks. You always gotta have a backup for the backup. So we'll fire up the 450. It's all right, the Denali needs to run anyway. She gets started about once a week. Also, another example of a sweet custom interior. This interior is one of my favorites. I love that we switched over to the Work For It logo. You saw the different one that we used in the BBB. We'll get the 450 backed out into the street. From this angle, you can get a little bit better of an idea of the rear end just sitting a little bit low on the Denali. Again, not a huge issue. I just don't feel like fielding those comments on the old Instagrams or the TikToks or wherever I post whatever video I'm gonna make. So, we got the 450 pulled out, and we've got something that some of you might recognize in the back of the 6.0 here. Let me know if you guys remember when we built this. So this bracket, this is for my giant American flag pole setup that we used on the previous Silverado I was talking about that was hit by the drunk driver. We used to go to country concerts and all kinds of events. We would do police officer funeral processions and all that. We'd be on overpasses with a giant flagpole and giant American flag. So anyways, we custom built this bracket. My goal was to have one of, if not the biggest American flagpole setups completely independently mounted on a truck, right? Not something that you get there and you put on the ground and it's set up next to your vehicle or just kind of anchored to your vehicle. This thing actually lived on the truck, and I'm very proud of this setup. However, I've not used it in many, many years. We just haven't really gone to too many big events. So today we're going to be putting it on the 450. The reason being is this setup is going to be leaving me. And again, I'll explain more in a second, but let's go put this on the 450. Now, because I'm being lazy, I'm not gonna take the Gen Y hitch out. Thankfully, the Gen Y has all of those holes on it that we can just add on a separate hitch. So we'll slide her in. Just pick a good height. Now remember, I built this for the previous truck. So all the heights, all the dimensions, everything made sense. This piece extended out far enough that way you could still drop the tailgate. Obviously with this extra, what is that, 8 inches from the Gen Y, it looks a little bit long, but it was meant to just slide into a 2.5-inch receiver with no extension piece on it, and then you can still open the tailgate with the flagpole in the raised position. And then we've got this monster of a flagpole. This thing stands at probably close to 9 feet, I'd say, in the retracted position, give or take. This flagpole is, this thing's gnarly, guys. This is not just your cheapy little telescopic flagpole that you typically see, you know, at like Home Depot, Walmart, or anything like that. The thickness on this thing is insane. I spent a ton of money on this pole because I wanted it extra thick, knowing I was gonna put a much larger flag on it than most people would at their house. So this is kind of the secret to everything here, is this pole. Now this thing extends up to 30 feet, which again, to find a pole that goes 30 feet, it's rare. A lot of these poles go 20 feet, 24 feet. So I did a lot of research back in the day and finally found this company that makes one pretty hefty pole. So we're gonna slide this in now. And this entire setup was made to be just super quickly deployable and taken off the truck, put on the truck, whatever it may be. So we slide in, big flagpole, like so. A pin goes through here. I need to go find that pin because it is laying around somewhere in the garage. Alrighty, so now that we've got the bracket on, the pole in place, we now obviously need a big American flag. And yes, this monster is the American. I don't even remember what size this thing is. It's like 16 by something. I don't really remember, but this flag is absolutely massive. It takes a little bit to get this thing into place. It normally takes like 2 or 3 of us to get the flag on there when it's a windy day, because this is a telescoping pole. So when the flag starts to catch the wind as you start to go up each section, the flag pulls on the pole a little bit and it starts to bind each section coming up. So it's a mission to get this flag in place, and it's definitely been a few times where we've had to recruit some guys to help get her up. But today is not a windy day, which sucks because you might not be able to see this thing in all of its glory, but definitely is going to make life easier for me to get this thing up. Now this flag is definitely a lot to manage by yourself, but I'm gonna try to do it here for you guys. Now you guys can start to see just the scale of this flag. I mean, those stars are like 5 or 6 inches.
That's awesome, man.
Appreciate it.
Wow. Oh, I'd like to see that thing in action. Oh my God. Still going.
Oh, it's a workout, that's for sure. The wind is trying for you guys. The wind is trying. We're getting close. It is a heavy flag, so it takes a good amount of wind. You guys can see that 3x5, no problem flying in this wind. Oh, she's starting to pick up. We might just get her, guys. We might just get her. Papa Rhino decided he wants to try to wrestle with this thing with a pole to try to get it to catch the wind, but there's just like barely any wind today. You would think with this storm that's rolling in, we get a little bit of wind. Well, I guess since we have no wind, we might as well talk about why I set this flagpole setup up today. Set up. Anyways, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but normally it doesn't lean back quite that far, being that the hitches are double stacked. You take the slop in one hitch, and then you take the slop in the next hitch, and now it kind of leans back a little bit. But when you actually get rid of the Gen Y and you just shove it straight in, at least on my old Silverado, it was a perfect fit. This thing stood pretty straight up till the wind catches it. Then, you know, obviously there's a little bit of play in the pull, but this pole setup, it's one of my favorite things I ever built. We did so many cool things with this setup. However, somebody reached out to me a couple of days ago and wanted a setup just like this for, I don't know if I can say, maybe I can say, you'll probably end up seeing it all over social media, but there's gonna be a big UFC event, and they want this for marketing their company at the event. I believe that's how this is going down. So they basically contacted me about a setup similar to this and or flying me out to Miami to actually, you know, build them this setup or assemble the setup for them. Well, you guys know Rhino does not fly. And we also have a very short, now it's 1 week, but we had a very short on first contact, little less than 2 week timeline that this thing needs to be in Miami. So there was just no time to rebuild this setup, let alone find this company, get another flagpole, and try to find another large flag like that in such a short amount of time. So I opted that in the best interest of the guys that are reaching out to me, I would have to sell them my setup. I'm very sad to see this go. It is a one-of-a-kind setup. We may or may not end up building another one, but I think it's gonna be really cool to actually see this thing in use, on display, in Miami, at some UFC event or whatever it's gonna be used for, and probably gonna be used for a lot more than that. So it is unfortunately time for this beautiful setup to go. And hopefully the GoPro's not totally washing out all of the color on this video. I'm gonna cut to a few shots off of my phone that are actually better than this. But oh, we got a little bit of wind. We got Good thing is there's some wind in Florida, because there we go. There, come on girl, you can do it. There we go. Give us a big wave. Give us a big wave. There's a big wave. We got a big wave. Look at that thing. That is just massive. Oh, I love this setup. I gotta say, guys, now that I see it up, I really wanna go to some more events now and use this thing. I feel like we didn't use it to its full potential now. The trucks are bigger, the builds are bigger. We go to bigger shows. Well, actually, we haven't been to too many truck shows lately. I wonder if we bring one of these setups to SEMA this year. Let me know what you guys think. I think we can do something. I've got an idea to make erecting it easier, something I wanted to do. The second I finished this thing and erected it once, I was like, there's a better way, and I came up with a better way. I just don't like redoing things, so I didn't want to cut apart this bracket to rebuild it the way that I know we can make it better and more automated. And you guys know I love remote controls and electronics and stuff, so I've got an idea. Maybe we'll do a round 2 of this, although I'm sure this flagpole is probably double the cost of when I bought it, and that flag, God, both of these were ungodly expensive. That pole was ungodly expensive, as well as this giant flag. That thing was ungodly expensive, so I'm sure to redo this setup, it's probably gonna cost quite a bit. So let's just do a little size comparison for you guys. Check this out. We've got it's not blowing in the wind, but you've got 3x5, and I wish I remember the dimensions, but like 8 or 10 by something. So now for the fun part of the disassembly process, we're going to lower her back down. Papa Rhino's gonna help us catch the flag so it doesn't touch on the ground. We'll put her back into her sleeping bag there. And yeah, this is gonna be the last time you guys are ever gonna see this exact flagpole setup on our vehicles. Alrighty, flagpole is down. It actually went up and down a lot easier than I remember this whole process being, which is good. One of the other things though is they're gonna be putting this onto an F-150. Well, an F-150 has a 2-inch receiver. Well, nobody that I could ever find makes a 2-inch to 2.5 inch. They make sleeves to take 2.5 inch down to 2 inch or 3 inch down to 2.5 inch, right? You can always make it smaller, but nobody makes a product that will allow you to accept a larger hitch into a smaller one. So I actually had this made because I wanted to run this flagpole setup on Papa Rhino's Kodiak back in the day, and believe it or not, that truck only ever had a 2-inch receiver on it. 2.5s and 3, they were not very common back then, so everything pretty much had a 2-inch. So I had a buddy's fabricating shop make me this adapter, which just so happens to work out because once they told me it was going on a 2-inch receiver, I'm like, well shoot, I'm gonna have to rebuild this entire bracket. And then I started searching the internet everywhere, and I'm like, nobody makes an adapter for that. And then something just clicked. oh wait, I made an adapter. I had an adapter made at one point. So they're getting this whole tank package. This thing is super cool. It was built really well. I mean, you know, those welds are pretty dang decent on there. Super, super heavy duty. Obviously, you don't want to put this on your truck and, you know, now think you can tow 20,000 pounds with an F-150, but for something like this where you just really need the size difference, this thing is perfect. So they're going to be getting this, they're going to be getting that, they're getting the pole, and they are getting the flag. Now, we've only got a few days to make it to Florida. Well, not we, but the pole's only got a few days to make it to Florida. So we're going to race over now to either UPS or somewhere and see how quickly and how freaking expensive it's gonna be to get this thing there. I feel like we're on one of those TV shows where they're like, oh, we got 36 hours, this has gotta get done. Although this is actually real. Like, this has to get to Miami before the UFC event, and we have a very, very short deadline for that to happen. Okay, y'all, I've just left the UPS store. This one is actually really awesome. I haven't been here since we did the Work For It CRF 110 giveaway, and I actually brought the dirt bike here because I heard these guys would crate it and ship it for me, whereas I was sitting there staring at the thing being like, this is gonna be miserable to do. That was a couple of years ago. What are the odds the guy that I get today to build this crazy custom box contraption that he built to house the flagpole and the mount was also the guy 2 years ago that built the crate for me. We're talking about, I was like, yeah man, I brought some pretty weird stuff here before. I bought a motorcycle once. He was like, that was you? I created that. And then he showed me on his phone. Hopefully you guys can see that and it's actually focusing, but yeah. So Joseph at the UPS store near the border, thank you brother, because you built a pretty awesome box today as well. I appreciate you actually caring about my items. In case you guys are wondering, what does it take to get something pretty quickly to Miami, Florida? I don't think I'm showing any personal information there, but yeah. $1,700 to get this there. That's 4 days, that's not overnight. Overnight was $2,300, and they're not guaranteeing any of this. So even the 4 days, they're not guaranteeing it, but if it gets there in 4 days, that still gives these guys, I think, 6 days before the big UFC event. I hope, I don't know. But hey, I know this is a super random video, but I wanted to make it today knowing this is gonna be the last time I'm gonna have that giant flagpole set up. A huge thank you to the purchaser. I don't think I can name them. I don't know, maybe I can. But they're a pretty big name in the world. So you guys will probably see this flagpole somewhere on the internet, somewhere at the UFC event doing some kind of crazy marketing. I'm not sure. It is out of my hands now, and hopefully it gets there on time. Fingers crossed, I've done all that I can do. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now, that way you don't miss out on future content. Don't forget to give this video a like, a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workforitapparel.com, because if there's anything you want in this life, you gotta be willing to work for it. You guys are the best. I'm out.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.